Ketosis is a hero for hormones. The diet that can help balance estrogen, testosterone, thyroid, and more. When I met 30-year-old Miriam, she was 40 pounds overweight. Her posture was slumped, as if she couldn't muster the energy to hold her body upright, and she looked tired. I wasn't surprised when she told me she'd been diagnosed with hypothyroidism, or low thyroid, which causes fatigue and weight gain. She also had polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, a hormonal disorder that strikes an estimated 10% of women of reproductive age, but may actually be far more common, and causes a constellation of symptoms, including weight gain, infertility, irregular periods, fatigue, moodiness, insomnia, acne, and facial hair. Miriam's doctor had recommended a low-fat diet to get her weight under control and prescribed medication to bolster her thyroid hormone level. When those strategies failed to help her lose weight or improve her energy, she went to a naturopathic doctor who recommended B12 shots, which help with energy, and suggested she start eating organic produce and meats. Miriam began feeling a little more vital, but she still struggled with frequent fatigue. She wasn't losing weight, and she worried she'd be on medication for the rest of her life. I listened to her history, then proposed a different approach. I told her my goal was not to treat the PCOS or the thyroid disorder, but rather to cure the root cause of both of those hormonal problems. I explained to her that hormones are chemical messengers, and they work in concert, affecting one another in important ways. Some hormones' sole responsibility is producing more of another hormone. Hormones also affect every cell and function in your body. They regulate your metabolism, your hunger and thirst, your interest in sex, your ability to become pregnant, your energy, your sleep cycle, your immune system, your response to stress, and your emotions and mood. Each type of hormone is stored and produced in a certain gland, like the ovaries, testicles, thyroid, pancreas, or adrenals, to name a few. In response to a signal from the brain, the thyroid, say, secretes thyroid hormone into the blood, which carries it to the cells in the body with receptors designed to respond to its particular chemical signal. In some cases, you can treat a hormonal problem in isolation, but that approach can be like replacing one violinist and expecting the whole orchestra to improve. In order to make more global, lasting changes in people's health, you need to affect the conductor of the orchestra, and if there's one way to do that, it's by focusing on insulin. This pivotal hormone, which runs amok when you eat a sugar and carb-heavy diet, affects everything else. I suspected Miriam's cells had become insulin-resistant, causing her blood levels of glucose and insulin to become elevated. A reminder about how this works. After a meal, the pancreas secretes insulin, which takes sugar out of your blood and transports it to the cells in your muscles and brain to use as fuel. But when your body is insulin-resistant, your cells become less responsive to insulin's efforts, so less glucose gets into your cells and more stays in your blood. As a result, your pancreas makes more insulin, exacerbating the problem. I also wanted to tone down Miriam's stress response because I believed her adrenal glands, which secrete adrenaline and are involved in the fight-or-flight system, weren't functioning properly. And I wanted to improve the health of the microbes in her gut, another way to transform whole-body health. To that end, I put her on a ketogenic diet to rein in insulin and support adrenal function and healthy digestion. I also prescribed probiotics to rebuild a wholesome population of bacteria in her gut, and suggested she take ashwagandha for stress and B-complex, which has a range of B vitamins, in place of the B12 shots for energy. From the perspective of traditional Chinese medicine, PCOS is caused by excess dampness in the body, along with a deficiency of qi, or energy, in the kidneys and spleen. Foods that are bitter help dry up dampness, so I recommended that she consume asparagus, arugula, celery, radishes, parsley, pumpkin, and onion, then support her qi with both astragalus and ashwagandha. After 4 months, she lost 35 pounds, and by 6 months, she had lost all 40. Her thyroid hormones normalized, and she was able to completely stop taking her thyroid medication. She felt so energetic she began walking regularly, then advanced to group fitness classes 3 times a week. Even better, within 6 months, she was pregnant. By giving her body lots of healthy fat and virtually eliminating carbs, we were able to get Miriam's insulin under control, which helped all her other hormones fall into line. Thanks to its positive influence on insulin, the ketogenic diet can have a robust effect on a variety of hormone-related issues, including PMS, menopause-related symptoms, infertility, and low testosterone. Here's what the latest compelling science has revealed about keto's ability to alleviate these disorders and create an environment in which your hormones are able to work more harmoniously and your health is restored. Polycystic ovary syndrome. It's no surprise that Miriam responded well to the ketogenic diet. PCOS is driven by an imbalance in a number of hormones that not only interfere with ovulation, but also promote insulin resistance. For instance, women with PCOS don't ovulate because they have too little follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, so their eggs don't mature, and too much luteinizing hormone, LH, which stimulates the production of androgens, male hormones like testosterone, contributing to insulin resistance and interfering with ovulation. As a result, the eggs remain in the ovaries and form small cysts, a condition that worsens month after month. At the same time, sufferers have low levels of sex hormone-binding globulin, SHBG, a condition that can drive insulin resistance. Insulin resistance can lower levels of SHBG as well. SHBG's job is to bind to free testosterone in the blood, so the male hormone isn't able to affect the cells in women's bodies. But when SHBG is low, levels of free testosterone rise, pushing insulin resistance even higher and interfering with ovulation. In women with PCOS, the combination of high free testosterone and low SHBG sets up a vicious cycle. It increases insulin resistance and promotes fat storage in the belly around the liver and pancreas, and excess visceral fat, as it's called, promotes insulin resistance and inflammation, and stimulates the production of more male hormones, which further impairs the cell's ability to respond to insulin. My keto diet program's high-fat, low-carb profile effectively breaks the dangerous cycle by taming insulin resistance and burning fat more quickly than any other dietary approach. In a small study reported in Nutrition and Metabolism, obese women who had been diagnosed with PCOS followed a ketogenic diet for 24 weeks. By the end of the study, they had lost an average of 12% of their body weight, their free testosterone had dropped 22%, and their fasting insulin was down 54%. There was also a reduction in the women's LH-FSH ratio that, the researchers said, may be indicative of endocrine renormalization resulting from the low-carbohydrate ketogenic diet intervention due to an improvement in insulin sensitivity, results that echo an earlier study that found similar decreases in weight and insulin levels. What's more, 2 women in the study who had been struggling to conceive were able to get pregnant, evidence that the diet was able to turn around the core mechanisms of PCOS. More on keto and fertility in the following section. While being in ketosis can help with insulin resistance, my keto diet's super healthy ingredients can magnify that effect. Studies showed that the high omega-3 fatty acid content of fish like wild-caught salmon and sardines may help lower insulin levels and improve insulin sensitivity in women with PCOS. And walnuts may increase SHBG, while almonds may reduce male hormone levels in sufferers. Likewise, foods rich in lignans, like flax seeds, sesame seeds, curly kale, broccoli, and cabbage, might reduce free testosterone. A case study in a 31-year-old woman with PCOS found that eating 30 grams per day of flax seeds significantly decreased testosterone levels. It also makes sense to take a vitamin D supplement. Up to 85% of women with PCOS are thought to have a deficiency. Adding vitamin D might improve insulin sensitivity, support weight loss, slow the formation of ovarian cysts, and minimize both inflammation and androgen levels. Infertility. I've seen patients who have struggled with infertility become pregnant after starting a ketogenic diet. I remember one patient, Elizabeth, who had been trying to get pregnant for 4 years before finally having success after switching to a high-fat, very low-carb diet. The internet is buzzing with stories from women who've had similar experiences. But what does the research say? A review of studies looking at the effect of low-carbohydrate diets on fertility concluded that there is convincing evidence that reducing carbohydrates can lower circulating insulin levels, rebalance hormones, help infertile women resume healthy ovulation, and improve pregnancy rates. Reducing insulin seems to be the key, and it helps with men's sperm counts too, which is good news, considering that sperm counts in men in North America, Australia, Europe, and New Zealand have dropped by more than 50% in less than 4 decades. A study that analyzed 189 men ages 18 to 22 found that as carb intake and dietary glycemic load increased, sperm concentrations declined. Dietary glycemic load is a measure of how much the food you eat raises glucose levels, and the more glucose you have, the higher your insulin. A study at the Harvard School of Public Health followed 18,555 married, premenopausal women without a history of infertility over 8 years as they tried to get pregnant. During the follow-up, 438 of the women reported infertility caused by problems with ovulation, and the researchers found a correlation between the condition and high carbohydrate and sugar intake. Their book about the long-term study, The Fertility Diet, didn't specifically recommend the low-carb approach that I advocate, but it did suggest several dietary strategies that dovetail with the ketogenic diet, including avoiding simple carbs and sugar, using more monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats to improve the body's sensitivity to insulin, and choosing whole-fat dairy products. Weight loss itself is beneficial for fertility, and there's no better way to shed weight than through my keto diet program. Being overweight or obese is strongly related to poor semen quality, and women who are obese have higher rates of ovulatory problems and miscarriages than normal weight women. Similarly, type 2 diabetes is associated with fertility issues, and the ketogenic diet is effective for improving glycemic control and promoting weight loss in people with diabetes. When you're trying to get pregnant, it's important to get plenty of iron from plant sources like spinach and beets. Take a multivitamin with 400 micrograms of folic acid, ideally methylated folic acid, and eat folate-rich foods, like green leafy vegetables. Both men and women should eat organic foods and wild-caught fish, because food that contains pesticides and other hormones can have a negative effect on your body's hormones. And it's a good idea to eat more foods that are high in vitamin E, like almonds and spinach, and vitamin C, like strawberries, camu, broccoli, bell peppers, kale, parsley, and cauliflower. Once you get pregnant, you should add more healthy carbs, like berries and beans, back into your diet to ensure you get a full range of nutrition, including folic acid and fiber, as well as sufficient carbs to maintain the healthy growth of the baby. Aim for a macronutrient profile of 55% fat, 20% protein, and 25% carbs. Premenstrual syndrome. About 75% of women suffer from premenstrual symptoms, like headaches, moodiness, bloating, breast tenderness, cramping, food craving, anxiety, and fatigue. and they range from mild to debilitating. Considering that the average woman has 450 periods in her lifetime, triple the number in our ancestors who died younger and spent more time pregnant and nursing, that can add up to a lot of agony. PMS usually starts in the days after ovulation, when estrogen and progesterone levels drop. The cause is likely related to declining hormones, but research shows that stress, thyroid problems, and environmental toxins seem to play a role as well. My wife, Chelsea, was among the women who struggled every month with symptoms until she switched from a nutritious, whole foods diet to keto, specifically keto cycling. Her result was surprising because she was already a health fanatic. But it showed me that my keto diet program holds benefits for PMS sufferers above and beyond what even the healthiest traditional diet can provide. In general, we know that a sugar-heavy diet fuels the condition. Women with PMS eat 275% more refined sugar than non-sufferers, according to one study, a finding that makes sense from a biological perspective. After you eat a meal high in sugar, insulin soars, and insulin can lower levels of SHBG, allowing both estrogen and testosterone to increase. With estrogen high, the delicate balance of estrogen and progesterone, a hormone that promotes well-being and a feeling of calm, is thrown off, causing insomnia, anxiety, and irritability, classic signs of PMS. The good news? On my keto diet plan, you'll gain control of raging insulin and reduce your monthly symptoms. It's also likely that you'll lose weight, and PMS is more common in women who are heavier. The ketogenic diet can also help reduce insulin-related inflammation, and inflammation drives PMS as it has a negative impact on the liver, the organ that is responsible for eliminating excess estrogen from your system. My keto diet plan will protect you from this monthly burden in a number of other ways. Women with PMS typically are not getting enough of certain key nutrients, including calcium, B vitamins, especially B6, vitamins K and E, and magnesium, all of which are plentiful in the keto diet. Because PMS can cause gastrointestinal disturbances, you should eat at least 30 grams of fiber every day from foods like chia seeds, flax seeds, collard greens, kale, spinach, broccoli, avocados, raspberries, and blackberries. Leafy greens are also great sources of fiber, as well as calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K. Fiber helps maintain proper hormone balance by binding to estrogen and carrying it out of the body. You'll be eating lots of healthy fat on my keto diet program, but if you suffer from PMS, make sure you're getting two types in particular: omega-3 fats like wild-caught salmon, sardines, and anchovies, which help reduce pain and inflammation, and the unsaturated fat in avocados. Eating an avocado a day naturally balances hormones, because it's high not only in healthy fat, but also in fiber, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin B6. I also recommend 2 adaptogenic herbs, ashwagandha and holy basil, which have been shown to reduce the stress hormone cortisol, balance hormones, and minimize symptoms of PMS. Reducing stress is critical. In one study, women who reported high stress levels prior to ovulation were 25 times more likely to have PMS symptoms. The reason? When cortisol rises, it throws off your hormone balance. If you know you have an imbalance of estrogen, the herb Vitex, also known as chasteberry, has been shown to be effective for reducing symptoms of PMS. Dong Quai, another Chinese herb, may relieve PMS symptoms too, since it's high in iron and builds healthy blood. Just don't use it if you have heavy periods or are pregnant, because it can cause extra bleeding. Formulations vary, so follow dosage directions on the bottle. Finally, try mixing 2 drops of clary sage oil with 1 tablespoon of a carrier oil, like almond oil, and rubbing it on your lower abdomen. Apply a warm compress to the area for 2 to 5 minutes. Clary sage is a natural hormone balancer, and can reduce symptoms. Menopause. The transition into menopause can be tough for many women, with symptoms that affect 75% of women, like mood swings, fatigue, declining sex drive, unexplained weight gain, and hot flashes that can strike out of the blue during the day and often interrupt sleep. It's a challenging time of life. Nearly half of women between ages 45 and 64 have trouble sleeping, according to a National Sleep Foundation survey. As with PMS, you can chalk up these symptoms to changing hormones. At least a decade before you have your last menstrual cycle, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and dehydroepiandrosterone, DHEA, begin fluctuating and triggering symptoms, a time known as perimenopause. For instance, as estrogen wanes, it disrupts the functioning of the part of your brain's hypothalamus that controls body temperature and regulates other automatic processes like hunger, thirst, and sleep. Again, my keto diet program attacks the problem from several angles. The abundance of healthy fats you're eating when you do keto right promotes the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins, including vitamin D, which contributes to the production of sex hormones, including estrogen and testosterone, and that helps support not only a healthy libido, but also energy and mood. Since most people's D levels drop as they age, getting more through your diet is important. At the same time, fueling your body with ketones instead of glucose helps stabilize your energy and create more ideal conditions for sleep. When Mayo Clinic researchers had women with hot flashes eat 1.5 ounces of flaxseed daily for 6 weeks, they found the average number of hot flashes dropped by half and their severity plummeted 57%. Study participants also said their mood improved and they had fewer unusual symptoms like joint and muscle pain, sweating, and chills. Flaxseed helps because it's high in phytoestrogens, essentially estrogen from plants, like lignans. During menopause, it's important to focus on a keto alkaline diet. As I explained in Chapter 3, that means eating lots of green, leafy veggies and adding a scoop of a powdered greens supplement to your favorite keto-friendly beverage every day. An alkaline diet optimizes insulin, cortisol, and other hormones that contribute to menopause symptoms, including hot flashes. Consuming too many acidic foods creates chronic low-grade acidosis, which depletes precious minerals like magnesium, calcium, and potassium from the body and increases inflammation. Add these 3 menopause-easing herbs to your diet, too. Ginseng may bolster mood and enhance well-being and have a positive effect on other symptoms like hot flashes. Take 1 gram daily or 500 milligrams twice a day. Black cohosh has been used in TCM for thousands of years to improve the symptoms of menopause. Take 80 milligrams 1 or 2 times a day. Licorice root has also proven to be effective for reducing the frequency and severity of hot flashes. You shouldn't take licorice root if you have heart, liver, or kidney issues, however, because glycyrrhizin, which gives the plant its sweetness, can increase blood pressure and reduce potassium levels. If you don't have one of those conditions, take 6 grams a day. Sexual dysfunction. Lack of libido is common in both men and women. A variety of factors can affect sex drive, including stress, depression, relationship strife, prescription medications, and alcohol or drug use, but 2 biggies that the ketogenic diet can help with are hormonal issues and body image problems due to excess weight. Low testosterone can play a role in declining libido in both genders. Women's testosterone levels peak in their mid-20s and steadily decline through menopause when levels of estrogen start dropping as well. Men's begin to drop with age as well. And here's what's interesting. Studies have shown that women on low-fat diets experience a significant reduction in estrogen, which can lead to both reduced sex drive and challenging symptoms like vaginal dryness. A small study also found that when men ate a higher fat diet, their testosterone levels increased, and low-fat diets have been shown to do the opposite. I saw this in one of my patients, Jim. He was a successful entrepreneur and father, but he confided in me that he was struggling with erectile dysfunction. I laid out a keto eating plan for him and suggested he start lifting weights. When I saw him 2 months later, he had lost 25 pounds, he'd started cycling regularly as well as strength training, and, he said happily, his erectile dysfunction had disappeared. My keto diet plan can revive your libido by helping you lose weight as well. You'll feel more confident about your body. But there are physiological mechanisms at play when you're overweight that have a negative impact on sex drive as well. For instance, one study found that men who are heavier are more likely to experience erectile dysfunction. To get the most libido-boosting power out of my keto diet, you can also supplement with hormone-supporting herbs and supplements. For men, ginseng, deer antler, fenugreek, and zinc have been used for thousands of years to support testosterone production. And for women, Vitex, Dongquai, and Cotonopsis can naturally support a healthy libido. For both men and women with libido deficiency, Epimedium and Tribulus also work well. Formulations vary, so follow dosages on bottles. Thyroid health. You might have heard that the ketogenic diet can have an adverse effect on thyroid health, which would be bad, if it were accurate. The truth is more complicated. Your thyroid produces hormones that influence dozens of vital functions in your body, from energy and metabolism to body temperature and heart rate. There are 3 main hormones you need to understand to grasp how the thyroid functions. Thyroid-stimulating hormone, or TSH, is produced by the pituitary gland in the brain and stimulates the production of the other 2 players, triiodothyronine, T3, and thyroxine, T4. T4 is the main hormone produced by the thyroid gland. It travels through the blood to your liver, where it's converted into T3, the active form of the hormone that sends instructions to every cell in your body. The term hypothyroid, or low thyroid, means you're low in T4 and TSH, a condition that can cause weight gain, hair loss, fatigue, impaired memory, and difficulty staying warm. It's an autoimmune condition that's fueled by inflammation. Lowering inflammation can help with low thyroid by improving the conversion of T4 to T3, so that's one mechanism by which the ketogenic diet is helpful. Likewise, the fluctuating blood sugar that occurs on a high-carb diet contributes to the formation of inflammatory proteins called advanced glycolytic enzymes that may inhibit thyroid production. By burning ketones for fuel instead of glucose, you eliminate this inflammation pathway as well. Finally, insulin resistance from being overweight and eating a high-carb diet blocks the conversion of the inactive T4 to the active T3. On my keto diet plan, glucose isn't an issue. Still, there's some evidence that when you lose weight on any diet, including the ketogenic diet, your levels of T3 drop. Theoretically, you're more likely to experience the symptoms of hypothyroidism. But here's the thing. Most of my patients don't. We don't really know why, but a study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that in overweight and obese young adults who lost 10 to 15% of their body weight, those consuming a low-fat diet had the greatest decrease in metabolic rate. Metabolic rate, which is controlled by the thyroid, dropped the least with a very low-carb diet. It could be that nutritional ketosis improves the function of your cells and the mitochondria, or energy factories, so they're more responsive to T3 and able to function perfectly fine on lower levels of the hormone. In any case, the smartest way to approach thyroid issues on a ketogenic diet is to pay attention to how you feel. If you're sluggish and tired and struggling to lose weight, you might need to skip to keto cycling and throw intermittent carb days into the mix. The best carbohydrates for those with thyroid conditions are berries and sprouted rice that is high in GABA, also known as germinated rice. In addition, eat plenty of these foods that support the thyroid. Selenium, which helps balance out T4 production in the body. Good sources are yellowfin tuna, canned sardines, grass-fed beef, beef liver, eggs, and spinach. B vitamins, particularly thiamine and B12. Thiamine is found in asparagus, sesame seeds, pistachios, herring, cremini mushrooms, ground flaxseed, and spinach. Good sources of B12 include grass-fed beef, tuna, raw cheese, cottage cheese, lamb, eggs, and salmon. Probiotics like kefir, cultured veggies, coconut kefir, natto, probiotic yogurt, kvass, and raw cheese. Leaky gut has been linked to hypothyroidism, so eating these foods can restore the health of your gut microbes and help treat the illness from the inside out. It also makes sense to take 50 billion CFU of a probiotic supplement once or twice a day. Proteolytic enzymes reduce inflammation. If you have an autoimmune-related thyroid condition like Hashimoto's disease, taking proteolytic enzymes like bromelain can reduce inflammation of the thyroid. Supplement with 500 to 800 milligrams of bromelain every day. Ashwagandha is good for healing the thyroid and can be consumed in capsules, tea, or tincture form. It helps you to adapt to and deal with stress. In studies, it has been shown to aid both underactive and overactive thyroid. In addition to ashwagandha, herbs used in traditional Chinese medicine to improve thyroid function include Rehmannia and Bacopa. Dosages vary by formulation, so follow instructions on the bottle. Adrenal health. As I explained in Chapter 6, your adrenal glands release the stress hormone cortisol in the morning to help you wake up and during times when you're experiencing stress. But in our overstressed culture, many people's adrenal glands are overtaxed. Their bodies are constantly churning out cortisol in response to the daily demands. Besieged by this constant stimulation, they develop adrenal fatigue, a condition in which the adrenals stop producing hormones efficiently. In addition to an overload of cortisol, people with adrenal fatigue often don't have enough DHEA, the parent hormone responsible for the creation of many other vital hormones. The condition, which causes brain fog, hair loss, hormone imbalance, decreased libido, sleep disturbances, insulin resistance, and weight gain, isn't endorsed by mainstream medicine, but has long been recognized by practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine. High cortisol makes your cells more resistant to insulin, so a diet that reduces insulin can be one prong in an effective approach to treatment. The idea is to remove any foods that tax your adrenals, including caffeine, sugar and sweeteners, carbohydrates, processed foods, and hydrogenated oils. What you're left with is the nutrient-dense, low-carb, high-fiber foods that form the basis of my keto diet program. Olives, avocados, cruciferous vegetables, fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, free-range chicken and turkey, bone broth, nuts, seeds, fermented foods, and medicinal mushrooms like cordyceps. In addition to getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep and minimizing stress however you can, with yoga, meditation, prayer, laughter, or time with close friends, you also should support your adrenals with herbs, spices, and essential oils. Here are the 10 I recommend. Adaptogenic herbs like rhodiola, schisandra, ashwagandha, ginseng, codonopsis, and holy basil. Research indicates that adaptogenic herbs can lower cortisol levels and mediate your stress response. Dosages vary, so follow instructions on the bottle. Licorice root is available in extract form. It helps increase DHEA, the parent hormone. As I mentioned previously, you should avoid licorice root if you have heart, liver, or kidney issues. Otherwise, you can take 6 grams a day. Omega-3 fatty acids. Their ability to counter insulin resistance and inflammation offers helpful support for the adrenals. Eat 2 or more 3.5-ounce servings of fatty fish, like salmon or tuna, per week, and take a daily supplement containing 500 milligrams of EPA and DHA. Magnesium can support healthy sleep, and many people in the United States are deficient. Load up on healthy sources of magnesium, like spinach, Swiss chard, and avocado, and take a daily supplement with 300 milligrams. B-complex vitamins play a crucial role in the stress response. Many people are deficient in B12, and people with adrenal stress are often low in B5. Take a B-complex vitamin with 5 milligrams of B5 and 2.4 micrograms of B12. Vitamin C is known as a stress-busting nutrient that helps your body bounce back from taxing emotional experiences. Since you're eating fewer fruits high in vitamin C on the keto diet, it's a good idea to supplement, especially if you're struggling with adrenal fatigue. Men should take 90 milligrams a day, and women should take 75. Pregnant and breastfeeding women should take 85 and 120 milligrams a day, respectively. Vitamin D has been shown in preliminary research to have a positive impact on adrenal function. Sitting in the sun for 20 minutes without sunscreen will help bolster your levels, but it's a good idea to supplement with up to 5,000 IU per day. Selenium deficiency can negatively impact your adrenal glands, according to studies in animals. You can easily get enough of the mineral from my keto diet program. One medium egg, for instance, contains 146 micrograms, nearly 3 times the recommended daily amount of 55 micrograms for adults. It's also found in Brazil nuts, sunflower seeds, liver, tuna, chicken breast, salmon, and mushrooms. Lavender oil has a calming effect and can reduce stress. Research has also suggested that it may lower cortisol levels when you inhale it as part of an aromatherapy protocol. Diffuse it while you work, add a few drops to a warm bath at night, or rub a dab on your temples, your wrists, and the soles of your feet. Rosemary oil is an essential oil that can help reduce cortisol and oxidative stress on cells. Diffuse it into the air, or add 1 or 2 drops to a glass of water and drink it. Hormone-related conditions are usually treated with hormone replacement therapy, which can create additional problems and imbalances. But research on the keto diet shows that you can effectively support hormone health with food. By creating a curative environment and addressing the root cause of common hormone-related disorders, my keto diet program gives you a way to restore the natural, healthy functioning of these powerful chemicals so your body can heal itself.